Hello, and welcome to Husky Talk, sponsored by Procyon Partners, the complete financial services firm. If you're looking for retirement planning, employee benefits, or interested in wealth management, Procyon is for you. It's a boutique firm that also provides consulting services for businesses and executives. Procyon is a proud sponsor of Husky Talk. So, our guest today, Mr. Dave DeArmas, welcome back. As you can see, we're starting to move up in the world. We're getting sponsors.
That's awesome.
Who would have thought that could have happened?
Awesome.
So, we wanted to check back in with you because before our first episode, you had something pretty serious going on, and we just wanted to hear about it. I know that you went into the hospital for problems with your heart, and you look great, and you definitely, well, the text message I got from you with your son saying that you got back to your office within 18 days. That's just incredible. So how did everything go? What exactly happened? And how has your recovery been overall?
So earlier this spring, we took my son on a college visit and to Liberty University, where my daughter attends. And we were walking around the campus, and and anybody who's been to Liberty knows it is a very hilly campus. So it is quite it's beautiful, but it's a walk
to get around.
We're probably an hour, 2 hours into the walk, and I felt some tightening in my chest, and I leaned over to my wife and I said, I got to sit down. I said, this isn't, something's not feeling right here. And,
tightness like a heart attack or
right in the middle of the chest.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the chest. And it was some tightening, and I can certainly feel, some pressure, and my heart was just kind of beating out of my chest. And I'm thinking
your heart rate.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, I'm really out of shape. I gotta get back in shape. And so sat there, and I told her on the way home, I said, as soon as we get back, I have to I'm gonna go see the cardiologist. My dad had some heart issues when we were growing up, and so I had always been very vigilant as far as seeing a cardiologist. I think when I turned 40, 45, just to be on top of it, because I knew there was a family history. And I had tests and blood work and everything had come back fine, but when something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I went to the doctor and I just said, hey, no more blood tests, no more stress tests. You're going to have to give me a heart cath. This is about the age my dad had this. Yeah. I said, this is basically what I feel we have to do. He agreed 100%. 3 days later, I went in for the heart cath, and they stopped it within about 20 minutes. Nobody said a word in the room. And I was like,
so you're fully conscious for it.
Yeah. They give you some stuff to make you, little
calm you down,
but they kind of walk you through it, and you're looking at the screen and you can see everything going on. And nobody said a word. And at that point, I was like, "Oh, this isn't good." So they brought me back to the room, and my wife was there, and they said, "We're going to have the cardiac specialist come in and talk to you." The surgeon came in, and he says to me, "Hey, you have at minimum 98% blockage in 3 arteries. We didn't even get to the fourth, but you're looking at a triple or quadruple bypass as soon as possible." So needless to say, and the scary part was when my father passed away, it was during a cardiac catheterization procedure.
During it.
He had a massive stroke during it. So anything heart related and stuff like that, obviously it was a little
Yeah.
scary. And so, you know, I kind of figured this was coming, and, you know,
You knew kind of going in that you
yes,
thought you may have some
yes.
sort of a blockage
For me, I've always known it was only a matter of time
before it's coming.
before something was going to happen. So this was not, for me, certainly not unexpected. So, you know, 3 days later, there I am sitting in the room getting prepped for surgery, and they came in, and, you know, I went through the surgery. I woke up, you know, I saw my wife, and so that obviously put me at ease. And, you know, everybody was smiling. Surgeon came in and said, all right, you had a triple bypass. And they took the vein out of my right leg.
Right.
And it was, the doctor came in and said, you know, your veins were awesome. He said the size and the strength of the veins were awesome. And he asked, you know, were you ever an athlete? And I was like, yeah, well, I was a kicker. And he says, well, let me guess, right leg. And I said, yeah.
Yeah.
He said, well, that vein allowed us to go in and take care of everything. And then they were able, I guess we have an artery called the Widowmaker, which is pretty, you know, popular and for obvious reasons.
Yes.
And they were able to go in, I think, because I had so much blood flow now, they were able to go in and just kind of sever the lower part of another artery to prevent any future strokes, which is what they're doing now.
That's huge.
Yeah. So it was awesome for me. The one thing he said it was a miracle that my heart was even functioning with how much
At
blood
98%. Yeah.
They said it was,
That
I
doesn't
guess,
happen.
the one part of the heart that was shut down was the other part was feeding it blood. And they, you know, you never know how bad things get, but he said, had I not gone in, I probably wouldn't have made it to August.
God, that's so incredible.
So, and then and then I think that night from the surgery, they had me up and walking around the halls.
Yeah, they don't wait.
Oh, and then every day after that was just, you know, I spent 2 days in ICU, and then they brought me to the step down unit for cardiac. And then I think I was there another day or two, and then they discharged me, sent me home.
That's great.
And, you know, I've always been very good in terms of, especially with doctors. If the doctor tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not messing around.
Yeah.
It's just
You
not
listen
worth
to
it.
the experts.
Yeah. You know, and so, you know, I did my walking every day, you know, and it's so important that you follow their directions, because it's hard to get started to walk because you're not feeling good. You got a huge, you know, incision down your chest and holes from chest tubes, and you know, you got holes everywhere.
Yeah.
And so you don't feel like doing anything.
But you have to.
You have to. And then you feel so much better. And then just every day I felt better and better and better, to where I was out walking, you know, an hour plus every day. And, you know, I finally just got tired of sitting at home. I felt great. So I told my wife, I said, can just, you know, obviously I couldn't drive. Can somebody take me to the office?
Yeah.
And it was about 18 days from the surgery to the time I walked back into my office at the school, where, you know, I just felt great. And every day since has been, you know,
I'm sure your players were thrilled. Your kids were thrilled.
Yeah. It's been awesome with my players. My assistant coaches have pretty much taken over all off-season workouts for me, which has been a huge blessing, you know, just not to have to, you know, worry about that. I think tomorrow will be my day I get back full time with them. So that'll be good. You know, and then we get started. We have our summer camp for little kids next week, and then
the youth camp,
and then we get right back into training camp the week after. So we're
it's right around the corner.
We're getting rolling.
Yeah, that's crazy. Did you, like, besides the Liberty tour, feeling up to that any other experiences where you had chest pain or
shortness of breath?
Shortness of breath. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like even walking the garbage cans up to the road, or, you know, just something that you didn't think would cause any issues, you know, walking up a flight of stairs, you know, you get to the top and you're like, man, what's going on? You know what I mean?
The mountain. Yeah.
You know, and, you know, when we all go through this, when we're done playing, you're like, that's it. I'm going to just enjoy life for a little, you know, I'm done. And we get out of shape. It happens.
It goes. Yeah, it does.
Your weight fluctuates, you know, and you know, we all been there. And so you expect it, you know, especially as being former athletes, that, hey, okay, this is just me being in bad shape.
Right.
Well, obviously you put that together with, you know, you're in your 50s now, and guess what? It's no longer just bad shape. You know, it's something you got to worry about. But like I said, because of my dad's issues,
you were on top of it.
I was always cognizant of, hey, this could happen to me, so I need to be very careful. So I wasn't playing around with that. But yeah, it was, you know, it's certainly scary. But
it puts things in perspective.
Oh yeah. You know, and the best part was once the doctors came in and said, hey, you need to have this surgery, there was a sense of relief.
Because now you know, and you're not wondering.
No, you know, because it's hard walking around going, is today the day I'm going to have a massive stroke?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you're thinking. It's always in the back of your head.
It's always in the back of your head. And now it's, you know, so once they came in and said, hey, you got to have this surgery, I felt much better about things. I was finally at peace. No matter what happened, I knew what I was facing. So,
and I mean, the ICU to only be in for 2 days, that's huge. Yeah, they got you right out of there.
Yeah, they were, and you can't say enough about what nurses and doctors, you know, it is just, they're on top of it. I mean, they just, you know, I felt like I was their only patient.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's not the norm in today's
No, it's not. Age. It's not at all.
And, you know, they were very, you know, very honest. My doctor was outstanding. Put it this way, this was a guy who I could see being a D coordinator somewhere, because he was not in the mood for small talk. And he came in and just said, here's the deal. We're going to do this. You're going to do this. And that's all that's going to happen. And it was not a time for small talk and let's get to know each other.
It was no bedside manner.
No, he was. And I told my wife, we looked at each other and I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I need right now.
I don't need to run around. Just give me the news and let's go.
Tell me what I got to do. Tell me what I'm facing. And it was awesome. I mean, it was just, and he was like that even in the post-op visits. He wasn't there. He wasn't there to mess around and, you know, shake hands and all that stuff.
He did his job and he made sure, and you're going to be cleared to go back, which is huge.
So I see him tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow I get released from the surgeon's care.
Yeah.
And I get referred back to my cardiologist.
Good.
So,
you know. Well, everyone was praying for you and everyone was wanting to know how you were doing. I tried texting you to see how you were doing, and I'm so happy that it worked out.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
And that you said you were going to make it back for the season, and I believed it. I believed it wholeheartedly. I wanted to ask you, because I didn't get a chance to since you've been away, just a couple thoughts. UConn was able to retain Coach Hurley. What were your thoughts about that? You know, he turns down the Lakers, $100 million, and he wants to stay at UConn and have a chance to go for a three-peat. And, you know, a lot of people thought he was nuts. The Lakers isn't the best organization to go to as a coach right now.
Right.
But him to do that really sent a message. And, you know, I know the state of Connecticut was doing jumping jacks, being thrilled about it. You know, being in the coaching world, it's a hard decision. It's not just about the money. I mean, your family's involved, moving's involved. There's so much that goes into it. but I was curious as to, how you felt about it and what your thoughts were.
I think first and foremost, I think it tells you what a special place UConn is.
Yeah.
Right. And take away the championships and take away all the success that they've had, the community, the fan base, the university, it's a very special place. And those of us who have had the honor of wearing the jerseys there, know what that feels like. The support that we get, it's like nothing I've ever seen. Are we as big and as other universities? No, obviously not. We're in New England and things like that. But you've won 2 back-to-back national titles in men's basketball. Okay,
which Calhoun didn't even do.
No, I mean, so we're up there with the greats. We're in the conversation now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're certainly up there. When I looked at it, I saw the offer coming from the Lakers and I was like, wow. And I knew that he had, and I could be wrong, but I heard that his goal was always to coach in the NBA.
It is. Right? He said that. Yes. And I think he will. Will.
And I just said, for me, I was like, wow. I said, I understand the money. Okay. I get the money is wonderful. And that's very hard to turn down. But I know from a coaching standpoint, I said, are the Lakers the organization that I want to walk into right now? Right. You knew you had the drafting with Bronny and all that stuff coming up. Right. Which I don't know what was said behind closed doors in terms of with JJ Redick and, Pelinka. Was the decision already made? Hey, we're taking Bronny with the second pick. Did a coach have any say-so in that? Would Hurley have had any say-so in that? And then, you're talking about professional athletes, right? Coaching in the NBA and coaching in the NFL and all these sports, you're coaching for the most part millionaires. Okay.
A lot of more money than you.
Yeah. And that very rarely are they ever told no.
They aren't. No.
And so there's a way to coach pros and there's a way that you coach college guys.
Completely different style. Yep.
Those of us who have been there understand the difference, right?
Yeah.
The coaches at the pro level and college level are much different in terms of just the way they speak to the players.
Exactly.
Right. There's NFL guys.
It's business.
Don't speak down to me. Right. They'll let you know that. So,
yes.
I thought it would be certainly not a move that I would make. Just because, and you're going to LA, right? You're going to one of the largest markets.
Everyone else said that too. Everyone else said that too.
You're going to an incredibly large market.
From stores.
From stores. Yeah. And now from a coaching standpoint, do I think it would have been cool to say you got to coach LeBron James? Man, I mean, that's and I know there's different opinions on that. I get that. But he's still one of the greats. And so that also I thought could be a little intriguing, but I think for me, I really don't think it had anything to do with money.
It didn't.
I think it was situation.
Yeah.
And I honestly think he sees what he can build at UConn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
with the limited NIL money and some of the limited resources, but they have a beautiful basketball facility.
Yeah.
They're the 2-time national champions. They've won national championships in 3 different conferences. I mean, they're the best of the best. So and he would be the first. I didn't even know this. He would be the first since John Wooden to win 3 championships in a row.
I mean, imagine that. Imagine that.
That's incredible.
And I watch how the players respond to him. I watch the interviews how they speak of him and his staff. There's something different there.
Yeah.
You certainly tell he's in charge.
Yeah.
Right. There's no question about that. You tell he's the one running the ship there. But there's a respect there, right, that they have.
Huge respect. Yeah.
And you can just tell in the interactions that he has with his players, he truly loves these guys.
Yeah.
He really does. And that's not something you find in college athletics anymore, right?
No,
You just
no,
don't.
no.
And so I think the athletic department did an outstanding job in keeping him. I'm sure it was once they saw that offer from the Lakers come in, there were a lot of internal phone calls going back and forth within the department, because now you have to move. Now you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, we got to get some money to pay the
Yeah.
guy. We can't lose him.
No, and let's face it, it's a performance-based business, and he has performed.
Yes. He's earned his opportunity 100%.
And so I get you're always going to have that argument of, you put too much emphasis on sports and all that stuff. But then the flip side to that is, look at the schools that have won a national championship in the major sports and look at the enrollment and applications.
Exactly. They go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand, and they have for years.
Yeah.
So, I get that the football and basketball coaches at most universities are the highest paid employees in the state in a lot of schools. I get that, but also look at the return on investment that these schools get.
But they make everything run from the other sports. They fund the other sports.
Absolutely.
And they fund the university itself.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right there. The other thing I wanted to ask was, for the first time ever, college athletes are going to be getting paid off of television money, which had never happened before. And they agreed, I think the settlement was $2.8 billion, and it goes back to 2016. So if you played from 2016 going on to 2023, you get a piece of the 2.8 billion. If you played Division I FBS, regardless if you were Power 5 or Group of 5, they're going to pay out whatever. And then each year going forward, the conference can max up to, I think, $20 million to pay their athletes. Now, it's not specifically just football. They're going to have to, with Title IX and everything, kind of spread the wealth around and make sure everyone gets something. But I think it's great that they're doing it. I think they opened up a can of worms with it. I just hope they have a way to organize it so everyone actually does get a piece of the pie. It doesn't go to all football players, men's basketball players. The women's athletes get it as well. But navigating those waters, the NCAA it's really a pro league now, and I don't know for sure what the best way is to manage it, because how do you quantify who deserves more than someone else? I mean, is it because they're a starter? Is it because of their production? Is it because of how many years they've stayed?
Right.
Like, one of my co-hosts believes that if you stay all 4 years, you should get more money than if you stay 2 years and bounce. So I was just curious on your thoughts that for the first time ever, college athletes are going to be paid by the university. It's not just the NIL. They're going to have the NIL, but they're going to be paid by the universities.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the statement that they've opened a can of worms.
Yeah.
This is no longer amateur sports across the country. These are paid professional. Once you're paid to perform a service, you're a professional.
Yeah.
Where does it stop? Right. I don't think anybody can answer that question. What's next? Right.
You're right. I didn't even think of that. What is going to be next? You're right.
What's next? Because that's coming. Right. So you already have NIL. Now you have TV revenue sharing. Are we headed towards super conferences?
Yeah.
Right. And I've long believed the days are numbered for the NCAA.
My friends, same thing.
That is just my personal opinion. I think we are headed towards super conferences that will govern themselves.
There's no need for the NCAA. What do they do?
When you think about it now, what is the NCAA doing? In terms of, what is their major role now?
Yeah.
Is it enforcement?
The conference commissioners negotiate all the television deals.
That's it.
And
That's it.
The NCAA, their main role is if you break rules.
That's it. And what rules now are being broken? Recruiting. You gave a kid a PlayStation 5. You call the kid on you call the kid during a dead period.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That's what they're nitpicking.
You can't call the kid on a Monday during a dead period, but Tuesday you can offer him $100,000 in cash.
You're right. Yeah.
So exactly what are we doing here?
No, I agree with you.
And so if you look in terms of super conferences, right, which I just think, and bowl structures and all that stuff can still happen, and they will figure it out. But right now we're just in a time period where every decision that college athletics is making is not based on the interest of the student athlete or the university. It's based on financial benefits.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's such large money. It's not like $100.
No,
you're talking seven figures with some kids.
Yeah. And it's a business. And the one thing that does worry me is, so you have so many now business donors and look, there's always been those people behind the scenes,
exactly,
with the envelopes and all that stuff. But with the amount that online betting
is huge. Yep.
And you see with the professional sports, all you have to do is pick up your cell phone and you can place any bet you want. Those individuals in those areas, in those businesses, are no longer hiding in the shadows.
No, it's all legal.
So how does that impact the integrity of the game?
Huge.
We've all been there. We all know.
Yeah.
Right. We've all had teammates who gambled.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Everyone did. Yeah.
Every sport, anybody knows, we've all been there.
We weren't supposed to be doing the NCAA betting pools for the tournament. That was illegal. Everyone did them.
Yeah. And so, where does it end? I wish we had an answer for that.
You're right. It's gonna keep growing, and there is gonna be another issue and another issue, and who knows where they're gonna go with that, and what they're gonna want and what's gonna change.
I was having a talk with somebody the other day, and they talk about CTE and concussions and how the NFL, and how they're handling it with their alumni and their retired players. And I know, we all get those emails from attorneys soliciting, if you played football and from this year to this year and you've suffered a concussion, contact us. Right? We've all gotten those emails.
Class action lawsuits. Yeah.
And there's class action lawsuits everywhere, but where's that going to go? Where's the medical? We haven't even touched on the medical side of college athletes.
No.
Right.
No.
So it's just a Pandora's box of just potential issues. I guess we're all in the same boat. We all have an opinion, but man, I don't know if there's a right answer out there.
Do you have a plethora of college coaches that come in during the season or during the fall that meet with you and talk with you about your players and certain things like that?
Oh yeah.
And have they talked about it at all? About how?
Yeah. I was alarmed at the number of coaches in the last few years. You're seeing the older guard retire and move on.
Yeah, they have.
And I've seen more GAs from fall to spring go from 1 year as a GA to a position coach.
To a coordinator, yeah.
To a coordinator. I mean, then they're jumping around now. I mean, you're seeing a lot of these older coaches saying, I'm done, I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Nick Saban. He can still continue to coach.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
I don't think, like I said, I don't know him, but I think he just got fed up. I mean, he comes across as a guy who has very little patience anyway. But I think he got fed up with the recruiting and just the kids asking for, guaranteed playing time and money and stuff like that. And I just think some of these coaches that grew up in the business have just said, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Yeah. The recruiting is out of hand. And what I had just recently found out was the coaches now can work with the players year round. So in July, where you just be with the strength and conditioning coach and doing the workouts, now they do their workout and then they're out on the field for another 45 minutes doing position drills.
Yeah.
Now they're doing meetings on other days. So the time that the coaches would have off in July, because June would usually be the camp circuit. You go and you do the camps and you see the prospects. July was your time off. July was your time off to recharge. Now these coaches are staying in July and having to work with the kids, having the freshmen enroll early, taking summer school classes.
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
And you got to keep them on board. Like my one friend is he's the head coach at Worcester Academy, and he says that he has coaches come in, and for him it's like they're basically lying on his couch and he's their therapist. Yeah. They're telling him like, oh my God, I got to do this and this and this, and they're requiring this, and and recruiting's the same thing because before it was like you said, the one phone call during the recruiting season. Right. Now it's like, okay, you can text message them as much as you want. You can email them as much as you want, tweet them as much as you want. And he, one of my friends who was coaching was telling me he's getting text messages at 11 o'clock at night, at midnight. And like, he can't go to bed. And then if you don't respond to them in a timely fashion, are you mad at me? What's wrong? Right. Is there a problem? And that used to drive me nuts with phone calls. I would, because once you offer a kid, I know you got to love them up, but every week, like I just felt like I didn't have enough to talk to them about. Yeah. Like, listen, we want you. We've offered you a scholarship. You visited campus. You've been to a game. You've liked it. It's just up to you to make a decision. Yeah. I know you want to talk and hear me tell you how great you are and how much we want you, but like, this has gone beyond that. So
the one thing I always talk to my players about is we live in a world where especially high school kids and college age kids are very used to getting immediate gratification,
instant gratification. Yeah.
Right. And so we've raised a society of young kids who need to hear consistent and positive feedback.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. And if they don't get those likes, if they don't get the thumbs up, if they don't get the hearts, they take that personally.
They do.
It immediately turns into, oh, I hope they're not mad at me. They're oh, why are they ghosting me? Things along those lines. Where back in the day, and it sounds like back in my day, but it was a phone call or it was a letter.
Yep.
Right. And, things were just handled a little different, and, today, I warned my guys, I was like, hey, don't be the needy athlete.
That's smart to say.
Right. Yeah. Don't be the guy. If you have a question, ask the question.
Yeah.
Right. If one of my players were to ever ask a coach, hey, did I do something wrong? Are you mad at me? I will lose my mind. I will lose my mind. I mean, we're not in the business of raising emotionally weak football players. I'm not doing that here. Right. No, and I tell these guys, and I prepare my guys. The one thing I tell them is the college football you see on TV on Saturdays is not the real college football.
Right.
The experience you see on TV is not. You are only getting a glimpse, right? You're getting to see you're getting to see the reward
of what they
right?
put into it.
Of what they've put in.
That's a great analogy.
Go sit in a college football position meeting room on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And see how that works out for you.
And
right. And tell me what that feels like when you walk out. Okay?
Yeah.
Tell me if you got the warm butterflies in you. Okay.
Yeah.
Because everybody's getting chewed out.
Yeah,
okay?
They are.
So, it's one of those things that I think as a society, and from a recruiting standpoint, I tell the kids, and most importantly, I tell the parents, this is a business. College football is a business. Your performance dictates whether or not these coaches get a new contract. So you better perform. The coach that recruited you and sat at your kitchen table and had a Coke with you and loves you and dapped you up and all that stuff is not the guy you're going to meet on the first day you report.
Yes,
I promise you that. I promise you that. And we try to prepare our guys for that, right?
Yeah,
and all the guys, look, if you get to play college football at any level, I don't care if it's a Division III, NAIA, whatever it is, you're a stud.
Yeah.
You're a stud.
It's very rare. Yeah.
But when they walk into these college programs, you're walking in as the man on your team.
Right.
You got all the headlines for the most part. You got all the pats on the back. All the posts were about you. Your picture was everywhere. You walked down the halls, you were a stud. Now you're walking in as an 18-year-old freshman with grown men that can't wait to take your head off.
Exactly.
And if it's up to them, you'll never see the field.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter your position.
Yeah.
Right.
You're taking someone's job to play.
You're taking somebody's job. And
they're not just going to give it to you.
No. And like I said, we're not there to be best friends. We're there to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more we win, people, you talk about that all the time. Winning cures a lot. Walking into a locker room after a win and walking into a locker room after a loss, boy, two way
different
environments.
Yeah.
And so I just think from a recruiting standpoint, these coaches have it so hard, right? Because they're recruiting a different type of athlete. And,
you're not just dealing with the kid anymore.
I was just going to say,
or his parents.
You can do a whole show just on how parents sabotage recruiting.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Of course they do.
You can do a whole show just on that part. So, we talk to the parents and I say, listen, this experience that you're about to go through, when I say it is a business, it is a business. And I try to break it down for them and explain to them why I'm saying it is a business. I tell people all the time, I said, football stopped being fun the day you graduated high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that you're not having fun playing the sport.
But it's a different experience.
It's a completely different experience. Okay. And obviously, that's not even talking about getting to the professional level.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole different ball game there.
Yeah.
But, I think, that we have a sense of entitlement,
huge
that, what am I owed? I deserve this. I can play at this school. I've done it a million times. I've printed out the O-line, D-line height and weight for just an average SEC school, right? Yeah. And I've not shown it to the kid. I've taken it straight to his mom or dad and said, your son is 4 inches smaller and 175 pounds lighter. And I've told parents the only way your son's going to go to a game is if he buys a ticket.
Yeah.
He's not playing here. But it doesn't mean he can't play college football.
Right. Exactly.
You just, I know you've been
realistic about it.
I know you've been an Alabama fan your whole life, and your dream was to play to Alabama.
Roll Tide.
I get it.
Yeah.
Guess what? Sometimes our dreams don't come true.
Right. Right.
Sometimes there's something better out there for you and you don't realize it. And so,
That's a good way to talk to them.
As a head coach, the one thing I always tell them is, I'm going to be very honest with you. You might not like it, but you will never, ever walk out of my office and say he lied to me.
Yeah.
Because why would I fill your head with something that you can go play at Michigan State, right? When you should be playing, down the road at a Division III school that would fit your needs, and they are competitive, and you're going to get a wonderful degree, and you're going to get to say you played college football.
Yeah. And you'll get money. You'll get a scholarship.
They're giving money, just as well. And, it's just, but having those conversations are tough. You feel like you're breaking somebody's heart.
Yeah. Right? No, I completely understand. I had Larry Hare on last week. Larry was great. And Larry was telling me at Kansas how they had a run of coaches who were very unsuccessful for a while. I mean, they had Charlie Weiss, they had Turner Gill, Les Miles, and Lance Leipold, I think was his name. He comes in there, a guy that paid his dues. He won Division II national championships. He went to Buffalo and had success. Now he comes to Kansas, and they're turning things around finally. But it's that mentality, like you said, being honest with the kid up front, telling them, listen, this is where you are. This is who we have. This is where we're at. If you want to play, this, and this has to improve for that to happen. Yeah. Otherwise, this is where you're going to stay. And you need to know that. So there's no confusion going in as to what your role is going to be on this team. We have, and like you said, I remember when I first got to UConn, the coach that recruited me was the nicest guy in the world. Then you get there and he's screaming and yelling at you. I'm like, where did this guy go? Why is he yelling at me? You think you're their best friend. And my uncle Jim played at the University of Florida, and he had told me that before I went there. He said, listen, they were your best friends during your recruiting process. Now they got you. So you have to understand that you're going to be treated just a little bit different. And it's not going to be the same. So you gotta find a way to get through it. And you got to understand that, like you said, Mondays and Tuesdays are not easy. Those are the rough days. You're going through the past game film, learning on all the mistakes you made, and then putting together the scouting report and the game plan on who you're playing the next week and all the new stuff that's going in. It is a grind. You're right. They only see 1% of it, and that's the final product, the game on Saturday. They don't see everything that goes into it before they play on Saturday. And it's so much time. It's not like any other sport. And that's why there's only 11 or 12 games. So I completely agree with you.
I had a coach at Maryland my first year. Came up, and he didn't recruit me, but he was one of the coaches who was, obviously there, and I knew because of my brother. And I forgot what we were talking, walking up after practice or something like that. And he turns to me, he says, "Hey, you know what the deal is, right?" I said, "No, sir." He says, "You're a kicker." He's like, "As long as you make all your kicks, we'll be fine.
Sure.
Outside of that, don't talk to me."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yes, sir." And I was like, "You got it." And
just make all your kicks, you'll be fine.
And I was just like, at least, and I walked out of there saying, at least I know where I stand with that guy.
Yeah. He was honest with you. He told you.
I can deal with that. I can deal with that. Right. I knew exactly where I stood with him, and, being a kicker, you're always got to deal with jokes and stuff like that. But,
sure.
it's one of those things where I learned that there was two things that my welcome to college football moment. They put me in, and first couple of days of practice, obviously my brother was the starter on field goals and punts,
Right.
and they put me in with the second team to do extra point and field goal, and I go in there to kick the first extra point, and we had a lineman, and he was 6'8" D lineman, and his Lubo Zizakovic, and his brother played at Ohio State, and Lubo played basketball at Maryland as well. I hit the ball, and he slapped that thing probably 17 yards behind me. Okay. Where my head, I don't think I could turn my head around quick enough to see that ball shooting right behind me.
Right by you. Yeah.
And that's the first time in my life that I had ever had a kick blocked behind me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Knock behind you. Yeah.
And I turned to our head coach at the time. He was standing over there with the whistle next to me, and I looked at him. I didn't know what to say. And he takes the whistle out of his mouth and goes, "Yeah, that's not going to cut it here."
Yeah.
And I turned to my brother. My brother's just laughing.
Yeah.
He's just laughing at me. And I was like, geez, and that made me reevaluate my whole life.
Well, did it come out? It didn't come out low, did it? Do you think it came out low, or he was just and blocked it?
I was really comfortable kicking off the ground, and I thought,
yeah.
And then we went back and watched film, and the special teams coach was like, "Look, I got good news and bad news." He's like, "The bad news is the timing was a little slow." Right. Okay. Right. That's on me. I got to speed up to get off times on that. So that's on me. He says, the good news is there's not many 6'8" linemen in the ACC.
Yeah. On punt block. Yeah.
He says, so you should be fine there, but let's work on it. So I felt better after film.
Yeah.
Knowing that was something I can't, but I was just like, holy smokes. You talk about getting humbled.
Yeah.
That was my first kick. That was my first kick in college. That wasn't even that was the first time that everybody had gotten a chance to see me. And
that was your first impression.
And Eric all goes 17 yards behind me. I was like, goodness.
That is great.
So
great.
But it's one of those things that, I spent the next 4 years working very hard for that never to happen again.
You improved and you got it better.
100%. That was probably the best thing that ever happened.
It never got sent behind you again.
No, not it hurt my ego a little bit, but in the long term, in the long run, it certainly paid off. This is one of those things you learn in college.
So camp starts. I still can't believe camp is starting up soon. When is your first game? Is it the end of August?
So we'll go August, I think 23rd. We're scheduled to play.
You start early. Okay.
Yeah, we're scheduled to play in Baltimore City. So we're going to be
10 games, 12 games.
We'll play 10 games, and then we have the playoffs.
Okay.
And so we've got a good season. Got a strong senior class. It's not a big senior class, but it's strong.
Yeah.
Every one of my returning seniors is currently getting recruited. So
that's awesome.
So I got some one Division I guy prospect, and then I have 4 other Division II, Division III guys that already have a list of offers. So if we can stay healthy, I think we're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
We're in the middle. I don't know you guys, but we're in the middle of a heat wave. And so,
yes, it has been a heat wave here.
It's supposed, I think at practice today, it's supposed to be over 100 degrees. So we're gonna, and it's funny because in our private school league in the state of Virginia, I have no official dates of starting practice. I could have been in pads a month ago.
They don't give you an official, it's 3 weeks before your first game.
Nope.
It's whenever you want.
No, I'll probably hand out helmets today.
Wow. But that's great though. I mean, you get that, you can at least get everything out of the way. So it helps. Isn't wasted.
It helps. And then we still follow hey, we're going to be in helmets this many days.
Yeah.
Shoulder pads, we'll be in uppers. And then, we gradually get the guys in. So, and, we do things a little different in terms of where, it's more of a college off-season program in terms of getting the conditioning in. So by the time we report to camp, we're not worried about getting our guys in shape and
spending time on that. Yeah,
we're really handling that, and the guys are handling it great. That
makes a big difference.
Our school's a little different. They actually have, every student has a summer book report and a summer math assignment that has to be done, and it has to be turned in before you return to school. I have, and my players are not very happy with me. I have a standing rule.
It's for you.
No, it's for the school.
It's for the school. Okay.
But my players, they have to have their stuff turned in before the first day of practice,
right?
Or you lose the right to play football.
So it's early because you guys start earlier than everyone.
So, and that is done. For me, it's non-negotiable. I don't care if you're the starting quarterback. If that's not turned in the day before we start, you're not playing football.
Yeah, that's great.
And there's no makeup on that one.
You can't. You got to go with it. Yeah,
you got to do it, because you know how it is. And the reason I do this is because once we get into practice, you're exhausted.
There's no way they're gonna.
You want to go home. You want to go home and read a book and do a book report.
Yeah. No.
After what we just put you through for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That doesn't even include 2-a-days.
Yeah,
right.
That's not happening. That's crazy.
They better be home working on this stuff.
I think they will be.
They better be home doing it.
I think they will be. I think they'll all have it done. Because that's good that they do that.
And we've been good so far. Everybody, the last few years, everybody has turned it in. We've had no issues, so they're listening. So
they know the process. The process. Well, Dave, I just have to say I'm so happy that you're doing well. Your recovery went well from surgery, and your season's starting up. That's exciting. You're going to be on the field for that, and I'm sure we'll talk to you throughout the year. And we hope that everything goes smoothly during camp and you get ready for your first game. We'll follow up with you before that.
Well, I really appreciate it. And, I got to tell you, I look forward to every time you post one of the Husky Talks. I see you had Mr. Tucker on the other day.
Jim. Jim was great.
And, he's a wonderful guy and very, very talented businessman.
Yes.
So just congratulations on all the success you're having, and you're making the rest of us who were able to wear our uniforms for UConn very proud. So
I appreciate that so much. We're trying. I got a track girl coming on. I got hockey and I got football. I mean, we're trying to do as much as we can. Women's basketball. And more people want to come on, so we're doing the best we can. And it's gotten bigger than I ever thought it would be. So
I just think it's outstanding.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Pretty cool that UConn finally has something like this.
I appreciate that. So Dave, thank you again for being with us. We wish you the best in your recovery and for the season to start. We're excited. And we'll definitely follow up with you.
All right, bud.
Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and throw them back